Right about now, the people got to get a movement together. You know, we're getting it together. It's called the People's Survival Program. You know, see, we done came together to make a way for ourselves.
Peace, family. This is your brother Shaka Shakur coming to you live and direct with another segment of African Talk. After a long-awaited, hiatus, we did a lot of work on the side, the community, etc. We're back. And a lot of people have been asking, when's the next African Talk? When's the next African Talk? Well, here it is. This is our 50th episode. And before we go any further, we have to thank you. Because if you didn't do it, if you didn't support, and give me the shout outs and give us the shout outs, we couldn't keep doing this without your support. Some have donated, etc. And we thank you very much on behalf of not just the show African Talk, but the entire family here at Maroon Multimedia. Now you may ask, what is Maroon Multimedia? Well, first of all, let's start with the name, Maroon. Maroons were Africans who resisted, who was like, I'm not going to be a slave under no circumstance. I'm fighting to the end. Well, in this modern day plantation, we say the same thing. We're not going to be slaves to mental death and power. We're going to resist. We're going to build our culture back up and use it as a weapon. So we want to control all aspects of it. So the group is Maroon Society. That's myself and Brother Divine Allah. And as a revolutionary conscious hip-hop group, that's what we're about. So we took it a step further, and now we have Maroon Multimedia, which is a total media entity, where we deal with publication of books, writing of books, music, visual, you name it, video, etc. We've even written a play out of Maroon Multimedia, soon to come out, because we feel it's important to control our image and to control what goes in our self, whether it's in through the food, we should be controlling that, whether it's mental or in through the ear in the form of music or through the eye in the form of visual. Everything has to be controlled by us so that our story can be told right, because we have to be careful what goes in here and what goes in here, because that eventually is going to come out of here. So we have to be the ones to dictate, author, and direct that. Now that brings me to another subject along that line. We often hear the term black power. People throw their fists up, they love to scream some black power, black power, black. But what is black power? Is black power just being angry at white people? Is black power just being, militant and tough and all that, that type of stuff? Or is black power being able to control, being able to define, and being able to defend what you define in the best interest of your people, black people? I think the latter is what it really is. I'm almost certain that's what it is. It's not a high science, family. You live in a community where 90% of the community look like you. So if they look like you, then that 90% should control the economics, the politics, the education. Hell, you should be controlling the water flow, building permits, you name it. Sanitation, everything should respond to you. Law enforcement, everything, because you are the community. So if the black community is doing that, then that's what we should be seeing. But we're not seeing that. We're 90% of the community, but less than 2% of the control of the community on any level. Any level. So we want real black power. We don't want no slogans. We're tired of slogans. Black power, no justice, no peace, free the land, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying people that have said it in the past are not serious, but we saying, man, we got to put some real action behind this. So if we want black power, we got to organize ourselves. We got to move like we want black power. And how do you do that? Yes, we need to own land. Some people say, you need to own land, you need to... Okay, but that's kind of out your reach right now. What you could do immediately is take control of yourself. The way you look and think. Take off all that red, white, and blue and put on some red, black, and green. Put down those trash books and pick up a good book about your culture. Turn on, a Maroon Society CD and cut off the other stuff. Pick up a Nerubi Salah CD. That sister's on fire, by the way. Pick it up. Pick up Infinite Wiz. Pick up all that stuff. Immortal Technique, Dead Prez, etc. Pick up that kind of stuff. See, this is what Raise the Frequency is about. Getting back to that, because they tie in. Because we created, because we want power. We want the ability to express ourselves how we see fit. We don't want to be niggas, hoes, tricks, gangsters. We don't want none of that. We don't want that. We want to be kings, queens, righteous people of the planet Earth. So, in the showcase, we have all kinds of music that comes through. Gospel, R&B, reggae, you name it. We don't care if it's a one-person play. We do whatever you got to do. You want to show your art piece? Come do it. You can break dance, whatever you want to do, as long as this raising the frequency of our people. It's a very simple formula. Very simple. It's about advocating for self. You know, yes, we are a universal people. And yes, nobody needs to be discriminated against, but I'm not concerned with nobody else right now. I'm concerned with my people. Why? Because we're dying at an alarming rate. Anytime Chicago can have more casualties in a weekend than a weekend in Iraq, Afghanistan, then something's going wrong. Something is very, very, very wrong, and we need to address that. So, let me ask you another question, family. The name Kendrick Johnson, Ryan Singleton, and Trayvon Martin, besides being black young men who were murdered, what else do they have in common? I'll tell you. The first two, Kendrick Johnson and Ryan Singleton, definitely have a situation with they were murdered, found dead, and then afterwards, their body parts were removed. Both. In the case of Kendrick Johnson, his body was exhumed to get into why he was murdered, and they found out he was stuffed with newspaper. How disrespectful is that, family? And then the other brother is an aspiring actor who goes to California, I guess, to pursue his career, and goes missing, and when they find him, his body parts are missing. So why did I bring up Trayvon? You say, well, Trayvon, is his body parts too? We don't really know, but Baba Dick Gregory kind of alluded to the fact that it could be a reality. I mean, they kept the man's body 3 days after the homicide. 3 days before they released it to the parents or notified the parents. So we got to be serious about that. Look at all the, it's not just young girls that are going missing nowadays. It's young boys too. At the prime condition in their life, teenagers, when they're, pretty much at the healthiest, between the ages of 15 and 25, they're gone. So that means that somebody's organs are ripe at that time. It's almost like they harvest you to pick you. Remember that movie, The Matrix? How they would have the embryos or the eggs with the fetuses in them that they were producing and harvesting, and then they would pluck them as they needed them? Well, it's like the same thing being done with us. We're being plucked. So pay attention, family. Pay attention to that seriously. I mean, I'm not even going to go into police brutality because you know what it is with that. Oh, by the way, stop and frisk, ring a bell. You got a new mayor now, de Blasio. Bill de Blasio is your new mayor. So we had a redneck, Peckerwood, who hates us, straight up. But he was a fox about it, though. That's Bloomberg. Because, you had Giuliani. Giuliani was the wolf. Big teeth, straight up enemy. Bloomberg came in, smooth, cuddly, nice, like a fox, but just as vicious. Now, we go through combined terror. And who comes to save us? Bill de Blasio. You gotta, come on, he has a black wife. He has mixed children. Obama's mixed. It's the way of the future. Now people say, well, Shaka, what are you saying? You're anti. No, I'm not really with that right now. If people do it and it works, fine. But I have a problem because, let me just be honest with you, family. It ain't about the individuals with Shaka. It's about the whole mental concept of intermarrying the black and white culture. I don't think it's possible. It's impossible, as a matter of fact. Because to interbreed or integrate something, you have to have two separate substances that are equally strong, equally sustainable. So that when they come together, they will coagulate and form either a brand new hybrid or they will just exist in the same thing separately, but you'll be able to tell the two apart. Well, we know European culture is intact. You live in a society, you speak their language. But where's your culture? So now when black people get with white people and marry them, what tends to happen is either the white person, mostly women, white women who marry black men, will go hard to try to be black women or fit in with black women. And what always happens with black people, male or female, when we marry a white person, we tend to be more white than them. So I don't think we're ready for that. I don't think, we're not ready for that kind of move yet as people, as a people. Not to mention the violent responses you get from white people who are clear that they're not ready, they ain't trying to hear that right now. So with that being said, we'll see. I can't really call it. Bill de Blasio, he just got in office. Raymond Kelly is gone, so everybody's like, oh, he got rid of Kelly. We don't know who he's putting in. He could be putting in somebody 10 times worse than him. We have no idea. We don't know what's going to happen. But I bet you this, African Talk, we will be following it closely to bring it to you step by step so you can see what's going on. Now, speaking of racial profiling and stereotyping, check out what happened in Barney's. A brother goes in there, buys a maybe $200 or $300 belt, and gets detained. They go through his financial records, his background, to see if he's actually good for it. Then a couple of days later, a sister, $2,500 with a purse, for a purse, goes through the same thing. Everybody's up in arms. Oh, we need to boycott Barney's. We don't shop there anyway. We don't make the kind of money to be a constant shopper at Barney's or any of those type of stores. So your money is not going to affect them, or will affect them if you just don't do anything with their store. Not just shop there. Stop trying to get jobs there. Stop messing with them and create our own. I mean, you spend a $2,500 on a purse, that's a whole nother story at another time. But why do we go out like that? Why do we spend so much on frivolous stuff? Because you really don't have any value. You don't believe that you have value. So you get these material items in a way to compensate for what you feel is being devalued. It's deep. And we're going to touch on that one day, like really seriously. The psychological effect of it. How it lingers on and on and on. Now, if you didn't know, we teach. We've been teaching for almost 8-9 years at the Asada Shakur Guillermo Morales Cultural Center, 137, in Amsterdam at City College. Well, if you didn't know, about a week ago, actually, we were doing an event for our brother Sekou Odinga, and while we were at the event, they took our spot. They cleaned it out, raided it, gutted it, everything. So we're fighting the school administration, the People Survival Program, and the students are fighting together so that we'll be able to not just get the room back, but show them you just can't bully us like that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And we were talking about this man right here, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, that we have to stand up. And we have to be clear, you're at war. You're at war. This enemy does not like you. You might not want to put a face on it, but I will. White supremacy can't stand you. The number one agenda of white supremacy is ridding the earth of black people. Believe that. That's why we go through so much. So, now we move right along. We talked about the center, but let's talk about COINTELPRO, the Counterintelligence Program. COINTELPRO was devised not just to seek out leadership, but to discredit movements, to break up any kind of alliance between students and movements or militant groups that are black nationalists from coming together. These are the other agendas that we kind of flush over. We think about COINTELPRO, we go right to who's an agent, who's not an agent. But that's not the only program they have. They have other programs to dismantle, dysfunction, and make sure you never come back. This is why they're coming at us, because they don't want us working with the students. They don't want the students working with us. They want us to be in separate worlds. But that's how revolution is. It dictates itself. No one dictates for it. Now, I can never go too far in this in this show, without talking about resistance. Because resistance, this African Talk is a form of resistance. And we are declaring 2014 as the year of black resistance. We declared 2013 as the year of the political prisoner, and it was a beautiful year. Still working. 2014 is the year of black resistance. So what do we mean when we say black resistance? Yes, we are talking about armed struggle, indeed, because you can't have freedom without the auspices of an armed struggle. Because those who have you in bondage are not just going to simply let you go. It's going to be an issue. So we believe in self-defense. We don't believe in armed murder and mayhem, but self-defense, yes we do. I and none of my colleagues, we're not afraid of the second law. We embrace it. I should have the right to defend myself should the government fail to do so. Only under those circumstances, and we agree with that. So when you look at what's going on, and you look at the situation, and you look at COINTELPRO, and you say to yourself, well, it's just like the 60s. No, it never stopped. It never stopped. We still have political prisoners behind the wall. 20 Black Panthers behind the wall doing time combinated together that would equal up to 800 years. Family. We just lost Herman Wallace. Do you know who? Look it up when I'm through. Herman Wallace. He was a political prisoner in Angola, the famous prison penitentiary that used to be a plantation. This man died. I say died in there. People say, well, wait a minute. Didn't he come home and die? Yeah, he came home and closed his eyes, but they killed him a long time ago in there when they drugged him and gave him bad health and things of that nature. So they executed him, and then they send him out to just die. That's not a victory, family. I don't consider that a victory at all. A victory is the unconditional release of political prisoners. That's a victory. I just got a call from Sekou Odinga's wife, Sister Dekwe, that the officials are messing with him again in the prison. See, they harass him constantly. And the reason he's getting harassed because you and I are out here doing work. And that's a sign that this work is effective, that is making them take action against him while he's behind the wall. Because they know he's vulnerable. I told you before, they really just punks. Now, if we moving forward, I'm kind of flipping around here, but we're going to go back to Raise the Frequency. And, you know, with Raise the Frequency, as artists, we just tired of the madness. So we say, okay, you know what? We're going to create a solution, which we have, and it's going really good. But the best thing about it is introducing artists to other artists who say are like mine. We can't talk about something without bringing a solution or some kind of plausible place for you to go. So we're going to start with music. You know, I have some CDs here, and they'll pop up on the screen as well. This one is called The Architect, Sacred Geometry, by my sister, Narubi Selah. Narubi Selah. This sister, boy, she's on fire. This is the sister soldier of the hip-hop game. I'm telling you. She's like Sister Soldier with a little bit of Lauryn Hill all rolled up into one. This sister is bad. You gotta support her. Sister Narubi Selah. And Sister Narubi, one day we're gonna get together. We just did a show. She was there, I was there. Our groups got together. You know, we all rocked. It was a beautiful time at the Sekou Odinga Freedom event for his CD as well, which we'll get to. This is another sister. She's from Infinite Wiz. She's part of it. This is Sister Infinite Wiz, right? And it's gonna pop up too. And it's called Shorty Real Anthem. Dope hip hop. She's like lyrically crazy with it. So, you know, support stuff like that, man. Immortal Technique, Maroon Society, United Front. I can go on and on. What you could do though, is for now, you can go to either Shaka Shakur at Facebook, you know, and I'll post different things for you to see as far as artists and listen to. And then you can look them up. Some of them have their own SoundCloud, et cetera, et cetera. So look them up. Look them up and, you know, support them. Now, moving right along, you know me, I love to read, right? So we got some books here. And I'm just going to shoot through the books real quick, but I want to start out with one book in particular. And this book is called, and it'll pop up, We Will Shoot Back. Did you get that? We Will Shoot Back. It is armed resistance in the Mississippi Freedom Movement. Whew. I got a little chill through me when I said that. Because people think that we just got beat upside our head and, you know, sang overcome. Some did, but we fought back. We organized ourselves and successfully fought back. I was reading earlier, let me see if I can find the story. It's a brother named Joe Pullen. Now, Joe Pullen was a sharecropper who had a beef with a white owner, a landowner. So the white man comes in his house with another white man with his hand in his pocket, arguing. So Joe said, take your hand out your pocket. So he takes his hand out of the pocket. He has a pistol in it. Joe drew down, boom. He was first. Got the white guy in the heart, killed him. Then ran to his mother's house to get more weapons and more ammunition. And in the process, when the whites came back, he got into a ditch and held them off. Now, Joe, let me see. This is 1923, by the way, and he was 40 years old. You know, it's ridiculous. Whew. 100. He held off 100 men ready to kill him with a few weapons. And it was so serious that what happened is they needed, it says here, the white mob of more than 100 men. Pullen killed 9 whites and wounded 9 others in a 7-hour-long gun battle. Reinforcements had to come from the neighboring Coahoma County, armed with fully automatic machine guns, and that's how they got the brother. One man. Kind of remind me of Larry Davis, right? One man. Kind of remind me of Matulu Shakur. One man. Remind me of so many of our brothers. Gotta get this, family. Read this. The brother, the author, by the way, is a good brother. That's Professor Akinyele Akinyele Omowale Umoja. Very good book. Get it, family. Don't front of yourself. It's good reading. Good reading. Now, in the same line of struggle, we have the book The War Before, the true life story of becoming a Black Panther, keeping faith in prison, and fighting for those left behind. My sister and one of my teachers, Jegnas, Safia Bukhari. Phenomenal sister. Panther, BLA member, Muslima, mother, took care of the community, did her thing until she passed away. This sister's book, powerful. And especially for you who are Muslim. You know, those of you who are Muslim that shy away from revolutionary struggle or shy away from African identity, you need to get this. Because you don't realize that most of the political prisoners, a good number of them are Muslims. So what, you gonna just leave them? You better wake up. Another book, David Walker's Appeal. Now, our brother Jamal, who sells books here, I got this from him. He said we do everything in-house. Now this book, you know, it was really just like a letter written, transcribed from David Walker to Black people about how we should stand up and stop taking it. Shoot back, basically. In so many words, but this is a powerful book. Look up David Walker. He was a real abolitionist, not these other guys. The next one is Black Power and the Garvey Movement. This book also chronicles the story of resistance. Everything from the Garveyites to the Black Panther Party. This is a good book, and it is written by Theodore G. Vincent. Published first in 1970. Deep book, right? And of course, the classic by Ralph Ginsberg, 100 Years of Lynching. This is a post office, a book really of what news article. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Sanctuary. Without Sanctuary's postcards. I get so, tripped up because I can't believe how some of us are running around here acting like this don't goddamn it exist. Like we're bugging out because we're too black, because we're telling you that there's a problem. Come on, it's for real. This is a book of just, god damn it, articles. Article after article after article. So let's do the, we're gonna do the, boom, we're just gonna pop it open like a book, right? Hey, here we go. Negro murder suspect burned. Wilmington, Delaware, June 22nd. A mob of 2,000 persons tonight took George White, a Negro suspected of murdering 17-year-old Helen S. Bishop last Monday, from the workhouse, burned him at the stake, and riddled his body with bullets. Guards attempted to repulse the crowd, inadvertently shot a man and a boy. I don't believe the last half, but they say they did. But these are just more and more, all the way down. Articles. Come on, yo. Without Sanctuary, it's postcards. So that means the federal government was profiting, and the local media were profiting off you and I being lynched. And they act like we didn't know. It wasn't just get that out your mind. It ain't a few Confederate flag carrying hillbillies. They're like the front people. This is deep. This goes all the way to the federal government and beyond. Trust me. And last, we talk about culture all the time. This book is by, Dr. Lalala Afrika. And this is called The Gullah. This book is The Gullah, People Blessed by God. 164 amazing facts and more. Speak Gullah in 24 hours or less. And it goes into, he gonna get his health in. So he talks about herbal medicines, what to do when you have muscle pain. Like if you have muscle pain or a sprain, you take white willow, fennel, applied to the area, swamp grass, mullein, and bosnet. Bone set. Wow. And he goes into the language, of course, of the Gullah people, which is a lot like the Jamaican patois, aka Jamaican patois. And this is a beautiful book, and the book cost me like maybe $10 or whatever. Now, last but not least, I want to touch on this movie, 12 Years a Slave. I just saw it. It's an excellent movie. Why is it excellent? Because one, they didn't water anything down, including your experience at the lash of the whip. They let you see everything, and how, you gotta go see it, take your families to see it. It's very important. I'm not gonna get too into it because I don't want to tell you, and I'll probably break it down later on, but that's the movie you need to see. Take your family to see stuff like that. Stop running out here to see these foolish little movies. There are other black movies, but every black movie doesn't have to be based around a dysfunctional family or an absentee father. Come on, it's getting old now. Or a rambunctious grandmother with an attitude. You know, and every other word is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I ain't got nothing against Jesus, 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 but, you know, we need to get down to focus and talk about some resistance, and so that our people can be inspired to want to learn how to resist. They got to be inspired. They're not going to do it. So, you know, family, with that being said, we just want to say, you know, again, thank you for doing it with us, holding out these 50 episodes, and we're just going to keep rocking and bringing it to you. Oh, my God. How did I forget? We talked about too black. I just want to remind you, there's no such thing as being too black. What the hell is that? Too black. If I'm too black, then I don't know what is. Be proud of your culture. Don't let anyone stop you. And I tend to find out in my life, people that categorize and say, well, Shaka, you're being too this or too that, or people who are scared to confront the same demons that I'm not scared to confront. Self and outer self, white supremacy. That's all it is at the end of the day. You know, don't worry about it. So, with that being said, I want to say to you, family, all power to the people. Keep your head up. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support a serious event every last Saturday at the Sankofa Cafe. We have our Raise the Frequency showcase. You can leave, if you want to perform, you can leave your email and address at raisethefrequency@aol.com. That's what you can do. So, without further ado, family, I just want to say peace. Keep your head right and tight, and we're going to win this. All power to the people.
What about slave ship? What about pain? What about facts that we lost in the game? What about freedom? What about fight? What about folks that we lost last night? What about past and what about future? What about kids that's been labeled as shooters? What about past? What about future? What about kids that been labeled as shooters? What about slavery? What about pain? What about facts that we broke down and trained? What about pyramids and the projects, dreams that deferred, y'all? That's the hardest. What about books that I read full of lies? I got no history, uncivilized. What about Po? They no good. Stopping French terrorists in the hood. What about music corrupting my brain? False images keep me locked up in chains. What about people that take where I live? What about schools that they closing on kids? What about industry, man, they the vulture? All of these rap dudes fucking my culture. What about industry, man, they the vulture? All of these rap dudes fucking my culture. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. See how my people be living and die. See how my people be living and die. That's right. We're gonna get them all, free them all. Political prisoner with no visitor, 800 years in a hole, but ain't giving up, pumping their fist, keeping it right. Eyes on the prize, we gon' get it tonight. What about mass incarceration, wiping a hole in my whole generation? What about straight fruit in the tree? Usual suspect looking like me, sagging them jeans, wearing them tees, screaming out loud cause they wanna be free. Sagging them jeans, wearing them tees, screaming out loud cause they wanna be free. Screaming out loud cause they wanna be free. Screaming out loud cause they wanna be free. Sagging them jeans, wearing them tees, screaming out loud cause they looking like me. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. Watch them get high, watch them get by. See how my people be living and die. See how my people be living and die. See how my people be living and die. Political prisoner with no visitor, 800 years in the hole, but ain't giving up, pumping their fist, keeping it right. Eyes on the prize, we gon' get it tonight. Pumping their fist, keeping it right. Eyes on the prize, they gon' get it tonight. Pumping their fist, keeping it right. Eyes on the prize, we gon' free them tonight.
MAROON. Yeah, that's right. Check it out.